Trump tried to humiliate AOC at a private dinner. What she did next destroyed his reputation and got him banned from his own club. The golden chandeliers of Mar-a-Lago's private dining room cast warm light across crystal glasses and perfectly arranged orchids. It was March 15, 2024, and the annual Unity Dinner, an exclusive bipartisan gathering that happened away from cameras and Twitter wars, was supposed to be neutral ground. But Donald Trump had other plans. AOC arrived at 7:30 p.m., wearing a simple black dress that cost $89 from a small Bronx boutique. She'd been invited by Senator Susan Collins, who believed that private conversations could bridge political divides. What AOC didn't know was that Trump had spent 3 days planning this moment. But what Trump didn't know was that AOC had been recording everything. The dinner started quietly. 24 members of Congress from both parties sat around the mahogany table, making small talk about their families and hobbies, anything but politics. AOC sat near the middle, listening more than speaking, observing the room with the sharp attention that had made her famous. Trump entered at 8:15 p.m., fashionably late as always. He worked the room with his signature handshakes and backpats, but his eyes kept finding AOC. She could feel his stare, could sense something building. Then during the salad course he struck. "You know," Trump said, his voice cutting through the gentle conversation, "it's interesting having someone here who thinks socialism works." His smile was wide, but his eyes were cold. "Tell me, Alexandria, how's that economics degree working out for you?" The table went quiet. This wasn't the casual political jab that sometimes happened at these dinners. This was targeted, personal, designed to humiliate. But AOC had been waiting for this moment her entire political career. She set down her fork slowly, looked directly at Trump and smiled. Not the media smile she used on television, but something sharper, more knowing. "Actually, Donald," she said, her voice calm and clear, "I'd love to talk about economics, especially real estate economics." Trump's confident expression flickered for just a second. AOC continued, "Because I've been doing some research on Mar-a-Lago's property valuations. Very interesting how the numbers change depending on whether you're talking to banks or tax assessors." The silence in the room was deafening. "What are you implying?" Trump asked, his voice tighter now. AOC pulled out her phone, not to tweet but to open a folder labeled Trump Organization Financial Irregularities. She'd been building this file for months, waiting for the right moment. "I'm not implying anything," she said. "I'm stating facts, like how this property was valued at $739 million for loan purposes, but only $26.6 million for tax purposes. Same property, same year, same month." Trump's face was turning red. "You don't know what you're talking about." "Actually, I do." AOC's voice remained steady. "Because I've been working with a team of forensic accountants. We've found 17 different instances where Trump Organization properties were systematically overvalued for loans and undervalued for taxes." She paused, letting that sink in. "But here's the most interesting part, Donald. 3 days ago, I submitted a formal referral to the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. They're very interested in these discrepancies." The room erupted, not in shouting but in whispered conversations and shocked silence. Senator Collins looked mortified. Other Republicans were staring at their plates. Democrats were trying to hide their amazement. Trump stood up abruptly. "This is ridiculous. I don't have to listen to this." "You're right," AOC said, standing as well. "You don't, but the IRS will, and so will the New York Attorney General, and so will every bank that's been giving you loans based on fraudulent valuations." But AOC wasn't finished. "Oh, and Donald," she called out as he moved toward the door, "you might want to check your property insurance policies, because I also sent copies of this analysis to your insurance companies. Turns out insurance fraud is a felony." Trump stopped walking. AOC continued, "The interesting thing about being a bartender from the Bronx is that you learn to spot bullies real quick. You also learn that the best way to deal with them isn't to fight back with words, it's to fight back with facts." She looked around the room, making eye contact with every person there. "For 3 years this man has tried to make me feel small, unqualified, out of place. Tonight he tried to humiliate me in front of our colleagues. But here's what he forgot. I didn't come from money. I didn't inherit my career. I earned every single thing I have, and that means I know how to fight." Trump's voice was barely controlled. "You have no idea what you've started." AOC smiled again. "Actually, I do, because this isn't the end, Donald. This is the beginning." She gathered her things and walked toward the exit, but stopped at Trump's shoulder. "Oh, and one more thing," she said quietly but loud enough for everyone to hear. "I bought the controlling interest in Mar-a-Lago's management company this afternoon. The vote to remove you from the membership was unanimous." The room went dead silent. "What?" Trump whispered. "The Mar-a-Lago Club has a clause that allows the management company to revoke membership for conduct detrimental to the club's reputation. Attempting to humiliate a sitting member of Congress at a charity dinner qualifies." AOC walked to the door, then turned back one final time. "Your membership has been terminated, effective immediately. Security will escort you out in 5 minutes. Your belongings will be mailed to Trump Tower. And with that, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez walked out of Mar-a-Lago, leaving Donald Trump standing in stunned silence in the dining room of his own club, a club he could never enter again. The next morning, the story broke in the Wall Street Journal, not the dinner confrontation, that stayed private as agreed. But the financial investigation AOC had triggered was front-page news. Within 72 hours, Trump Organization's credit rating was downgraded. 3 major banks froze his accounts pending investigation. The IRS launched a formal audit. But the most devastating blow came from an unexpected source, other Mar-a-Lago members. When they learned that Trump had tried to humiliate a guest at what was supposed to be a unity dinner, 12 of them resigned in protest. 6 months later, Mar-a-Lago's membership had dropped by 40%. The club that Trump had built his post-presidency life around was failing. AOC never publicly gloated. She never tweeted about the dinner. She never gave interviews about what happened that night. She didn't need to. Because sometimes the most powerful revenge isn't public destruction. It's private justice. It's using someone's own arrogance against them. It's being so thoroughly prepared that when they try to humiliate you, they end up destroying themselves. The girl from the Bronx who used to bartender had learned something that night. You don't have to be the loudest person in the room to be the most powerful. You just have to be the smartest. And in that mahogany dining room at Mar-a-Lago, surrounded by crystal and gold, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez proved that intelligence, preparation, and courage will always defeat bluster, bullying, and inherited privilege, the economics degree Trump had mocked. It turns out it worked perfectly, just not the way he expected.